everybody, it's Donna from Dinners with Donna, and today we are going to be making our traditional Linzer cookies. This is a leftover recipe from our cookie baking marathon that we had for Give Kids the World back on November 28th. This is one we didn't get to finish, so we're going to make it today. So I have the dough pre-made because it needs to chill. So we started with 1 cup of softened butter, a half a cup of sugar, 1.5 cups of confectioner's sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, but you guys know I bump up the vanilla a little bit, 1 cup of finely ground almonds, which I ground in my food processor, 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 large egg, and 1 cup of jam of your choice. So I started by preheating my oven to 375 degrees. Now you wouldn't do this until after you've chilled your dough, but since we're baking today, I've done that. But to make the dough in a large mixing bowl, we used a handheld mixer to beat together the butter, sugar, 1 cup of the confectioner's sugar, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, and vanilla until light and fluffy. Then we added the flour, ground almonds, and the egg. And you beat just until it's incorporated. You don't want to overbeat it, you'll get a tough dough. So then you divide the dough into 2 halves, and I'll show you how I did that here. We've got 2 discs that I made. I wrapped them in wax paper to protect them in the freezer. And then I put them in the fridge overnight, and then I took them out about a half an hour before I was ready to bake them. So then that's what we did. We wrapped them up, we put them in the fridge, and you need to refrigerate it for at least an hour. You can do it overnight. I put mine in the freezer and then took it out and let it, and it's just fine. But I let it thaw a little bit and come up to a little bit more of a room temperature. But you do want it pretty cold, not refrigerator cold, but not room temperature, because if it's too warm, your dough will kind of crumble on you, and you don't want that happening either. Okay, so we have now preheated our oven to 375 degrees like I told you. We prepared baking sheets with non-stick foil over there, so they're ready to go. And now we're going to lightly flour our surface. We're going to roll out 1/2 of our dough to 1/8 of an inch thickness. And then we're going to use a cookie cutter and cut out the cookies. And I'll show you what I've got for that. So I bought this really cute Linzer cookie kit. And you cut it with one side because you don't want the little hole in it with the regular. And then you can insert these little dies that will cut the center out to make a little pattern that you see in your Linzer cookies. We're going to use a star today, but this also came with a circle and with a heart. So you can do this with whatever shape you want. You can hand cut your mini shape if you want to, but we're going to see how these work for us. I've never used this kind before, but we're going to see. It came highly recommended, so I'm going to see if it works for us. So we're going to start, and I think I'm going to lightly flour the surface, but I'm going to make sure we peel our dough off of the wax paper. And it's coming right off. It's really malleable and ready to go. So you have this really great dough mat, this OXO dough mat that I got on Zulily, and I love it because it keeps my cutting board, although I want my cutting board usable, this makes it so I can just roll this up and not have to lug the big cutting board to the sink all the time. So I'm gonna lightly flour our surface here, move the flour out of the way. If we need more, we will use more. I think this should be good. We'll get our wax paper out of the way, and our second half of the dough will move out of the way as well, so that we have a good working surface here. And I'm going to put a little flour on top as well, just to, you know, for good measure. Okay, so now let's see. My dough is crumbling, which is not good. So we're going to see what happens here. It could be still too cold. We will see. But I'm going to mix it with my hands and see what I get. Sometimes if you warm the dough up with your hand, make sure your hands are clean, of course. Yeah, yep, the dough's a little too cold, but that's okay. We will just work it with our hands and make it warm, and then we'll roll it out. You don't want to overwork it either because you don't want a tough dough. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Once we warmed it up, it's rolling out just fine. So we want to get it to 1/8 of an inch thick, just pretty thin. Remember, because we're making sandwich cookies out of these. They're Linzer cookies, of course, so get that nice jam layer in the center. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these out. Got 7 out of that. So now ideally we need to make 7 with a pattern in it. I'm going to get a little spatula and put these on my cookie sheet. I'll be right back. It'll just help to get these. See, they lift right off. They're a little delicate because they're so thin, so I don't want to mess with them too terribly much. There we go. Just gonna get around there. There we go. See, it lifts right off. It's a good cookie cutter, I must say. I'm impressed. Okay, so I'm going to make a tray of tops, bottoms, and then a tray of the cutouts. So all you do is just keep going back and putting your dough together, like so. And rolling out. 1/8 of an inch thick. And once the dough is the right temperature, it's working just perfectly, which is great. Okay, I think I can fit, let's see how many more. About 8. So let's see. I'm gonna roll it out just a touch more. So we'll bring our tray back over and we'll put the rest of these on. And then I'll bake these bottoms. And once the oven is preheated and we have a tray ready to go, we're going to bake them for 9 to 11 minutes. And there we go. So we have our bottoms ready. We have one that looks a little bit thicker, but that's okay. We'll see how they all go together. But I'm gonna put them in the oven for about, I'll say 11 minutes, because that one is thicker. And then we'll go with that. So now I'm gonna make a tray of tops, and they'll have that star cutter in the center. Okay. So now all we have to do with this is, see, it has this little doohickey and it screws, kind of locks in to place like that, okay? And you can just test it out because it'll plunge like a plunger. It'll push out the cookie so it doesn't get stuck on you. Now, like I said, I've not used this cookie cutter before, so we're in this to win it together. Let's see how it goes. Think we got this, Sam? Sam's nodding yes, so. Okay. Okay, here we go. There, flatten it out just a little bit. Let's see how this works. Oh, look, see? Oh, what?
Put it down.
Sorry, we'll have to edit that. So here's what it looks like, guys. Very pretty star. So that's going to be our top, and then you have a little star there, so it'll push out. Okay. Let's do another one. See, there's cookie dough in the plunger. So that's what holds it, goes in there instead of, you know, well, not instead of, but it goes in there so you don't have to cut it out, and it's a perfect star. So I think that's a winner. I'm impressed. Gently put them on our cookie sheet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over here like this. There we go. Okay. Very gentle. And be careful with these because you have your cutout and you don't want to mess with the design. gonna go to the oven and count how many I have on there. I think I have a dozen on the other sheet. I just wanna make sure so we have enough tops to bottoms. So 3, 6, 9, nope, we've got 15. So we're gonna do, let's say we have 8. We need to do 7 more. So that is what we are gonna roll out. We're gonna do 7 more. Here we go, 7 more. Okay, so there's 7. We'll put those on our baking sheet, and then this will be ready to go when the tops come out. And the jam is going to look so pretty shining through the stars. Okay, so now we have a matching number of tops and bottoms. This bottom is not looking so good, so I'm gonna redo one of them. It was a little, I think I rolled it too thin. Okay, should be right about there. Yep, much better. So you don't want to mess with the integrity of the shape. Okay, great. Okay, we fixed that one. So these are ready to go in. We've got 4 minutes left on the tops, on the bottoms. I'm getting the tops and the bottoms mixed up. The ones with the stars are the tops. The ones we put in already are the bottoms. But we've got 4 minutes on the bottom. Then we've got to put the tops in for about 10, 11 minutes. Then we have to let them cool. And then once they cool, we will come back, show you how we fill them and finish them with powdered sugar. So stay tuned, we'll be back. Hi guys, so we are back. Our cookies are now out of the oven and have cooled. So these are the bottoms, and then I flipped them over because we're gonna put the jam on this side. And then here are our tops. So we're gonna start assembling our Linzer cookies. I am gonna use my favorite jam, which is Pepper Tree Villa Strawberry Banana Jam, which I absolutely love. We're gonna use some of that, and we're gonna use some strawberry preserves when we run out of PTV jam, which would be very sad, but we've got backup.
I didn't get that. Could you?
And of course my watch has to decide to talk, but that's okay. Okay, Here we go. So now this is about 2 teaspoons of jam per cookie. So we're just going in, because you're going to press down a lid on each one of these, so you don't want to have an outpouring of, there you go, see, like that. So it's going to keep going until we fill the cookies, and then I will show you what happens next. Make them even more pretty. These are super simple and so forgiving. The dough is really pliable and malleable. If you just let it come up to between, not like room temperature warm, but not fridge cold, so kind of that in between little temperature. This is gonna be so delicious. This is such a classic cookie too. And you can use whatever jam or preserves that your family likes. We love our PTV. We love our PTV preserves. They know what they're doing. So we always like to go to our friends' homemade with love jams and jellies when we can. I've got a nice crisp on them, and that's what you want. You want them a little bit crispy because, you know, they have to hold up to the jam, and they have to hold up when you're eating them as a sandwich. If they were soft, they would crumble, and you don't want that happening. There we go. And you just eyeball it. You can pretty much tell when you've reached the maximum jam capacity. It always makes me sad when I get to the bottom of a jar of PTV jams or jellies. But we love them so much. They're so good. They know how to make jam, let me tell you. Okay. We're out of jam. Look guys, we're out of PTV jam. Got one last little bit. I'm gonna scrape it all out. We always reuse the jars too. There's so many things you can do with mason jars. If you don't, even if you don't can and preserve yourself, you can keep spices in here and all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna put these through the dishwasher and reuse them. But thank you PTV for your delicious jam. So now, unfortunately, we're going into the commercial stuff, the Smucker's strawberry jam, which is acceptable, just not as good as PTV jam. Here we go. These are so pretty. And they brown up nicely, these cookies, because you're using the ground almonds in there, and when almonds toast up, of course, they brown. So that's one of the reasons the cookies are toasty. They're not burnt, they're not overdone. That's because we use kind of, it's almost like an almond flour, if you will, when you grind the almonds into the mix, which is a traditional way to make a Linzer cookie. Got 2 more. And then we'll finish them up for you and you'll see how pretty we make them. Okay, this is the last one. Okay, so these are our cookies filled. Now comes the fun part. We're going to make it snow. And how are we going to make it snow, do you ask? Well, of course, we're going to dust them with some confectioner sugar. So I got this handy dandy sifter. And there you have it, guys. Classic Linzer cookies filled with, well, mostly PTV jam, who I love very much. And of course the others, you can use whatever jam you like. Apricot, strawberry, raspberry, marmalade would be great. Whatever your family likes, that's what you should put in there. You could even use apple butter or pumpkin butter if you want to. You don't have to dust them with powdered sugar at the end if you don't want to, but it makes it really look festive and pretty for the holidays. So that's why I went ahead and did that with mine. I always do that with my Linzer cookies, but anyhow, this is our traditional Linzer cookie with ground almonds in the batter. So I hope you like them and I hope you try them out. If you do, leave me a note in the comments section and let me know how they turned out for you, what kind of jam you used, and if your family liked them or not. Be sure to thumbs up and like the video and subscribe if you're new, and welcome if you are new. Thank you for watching. We usually go live every other Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern time on my YouTube channel, but we're doing some vlogs over Christmas to catch up. So this is our Linzer cookie that we didn't get to make before. And I guess that's all for today, but we are going to be making more cookies and things, so stay tuned for the next vlog, guys. And until then, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays!